The first thing we need to do is draw a free body diagram of all the forces that are exerted onto the object. These are all the forces that are exerted on the bed. That's on the wall. We have the Babadook's force. Then we have the frictional force, which is F sub F. It's in a positive y direction. Then we have, of course, gravity going in the negative y direction. And then we have the normal force, which is a force exerted by the wall onto the bigot. The direction of the normal force is perpendicular to the surface that's exerting the force. So the question is, what is the minimum force you need to keep the bigot in place? So that's basically asking what force is needed to make the object stay at rest. So in order for an object to be at rest, the sum of all the forces exerted on it has to equal 0. And that's what I said right here. And so if the sum of all the forces equals 0, then the sum of all the x components and the sum of all the y components also have to equal 0. So in the next step, step 3 and 4, I went out to go find the x components and the y components, and I combined them. To find my x components, I look for all the forces that are in the x direction. We have our normal force, which is going in a positive x direction. Then we have F sub x, which is the x component of the Babadook's force. And so I want to know the magnitude of F sub x. So to find that, I look at F sub x's position with respect to angle theta, and it's opposite. So I look at my handy dandy SOHCAHTOA and realize I have to use sine. So after I did all that, I got this equation. And I did the same thing with the y components. See here, this tornado with a corset is an arrow that's pointing to the y component of the Babadook's force. Then we also have the static frictional force, F sub F right here in the positive y direction. And we also have gravity. And just like finding F sub x, I do the same thing for F sub y. Look at its position with respect to the theta angle. It's adjacent, so I have to use cosine. And this is my resulting answer. And so we are trying to solve for F, which is the minimum force needed to keep the bigot in place. Therefore, there can only be one unknown variable, which is F. But at this point, we have F and F sub F. So we're going to have to substitute F sub F with something, and we're going to have to substitute N with something as well. And so we can do that by using the equation for static frictional force. So now every time we see F sub F, we will plug in this nice little stuff right here. And then now what's left is N. So it's just some little algebra right here to get N, and then for step 6, it's the last part, the good part, we just combine the x components and the y components, set the equation equal to 0, and solve for F. And that's what I did here. And then at the end, we got this resulting equation, and then from there we just plug in what was given to us, and this is my answer.